You see, food is a very valuable asset in our daily lives. It keeps us healthier, it keeps the economy growing, and furthermore, it keeps the money going. So, what do we do after we consume it all? Do we perhaps just throw it away?
Are you aware of how much food is wasted yearly? Annually, Malaysia produces 8.3 million tons of food waste. That's like 2 million elephants thrown in a landfill.
This video will be split into three parts. Firstly, we'll talk about why food waste is bad in the first place. Secondly, we'll show our research that we did by asking random people online and conducting an interview with an expert in the field. Thirdly, we'll show you a potential solution that we think could tackle this issue. And with that, let's dive in.
Food waste is bad for a myriad of reasons. Above all else, it produces methane, a greenhouse gas that greatly damages the ozone. In fact, it is reportedly the second biggest contributor to climate change, only beaten by carbon dioxide. And with the sheer volume of food waste dumped into landfills, you could imagine the amount of methane produced. Speaking of, the ground from landfills becomes greatly damaged thanks to food waste. The soil is damaged to barren levels, making it unusable for agriculture. Moreover, not only are you wasting the food, you're also wasting the effort behind the food, the water used to nurture it, and the fossil fuels burnt to get the crop to the shop.
With that in mind, we held a survey to ask the people in Malaysia what they think about food waste. And in our survey, we got a whopping 115 responses, with most of them being from the older generation. Here are some of the most interesting findings that we found. First of all, we found out that the most common reason people waste food is because of food quality or taste. When we asked, what are your thoughts on food waste and how it affects the world? Many people showed a strong awareness, mentioning all the points that we mentioned earlier. They said that food waste doesn't just waste the food, but also the energy, water, and other resources used to create the food in the first place. A lot of people also mentioned the environmental impacts of food waste on the earth, mentioning how it produces CO2 and also methane. It's clear that people do understand the serious impacts of food waste on the earth. But one response in particularly sparked a question in our head. This response says that food waste has become somewhat normalized in Malaysia. And we wondered, why is that? That's why we interviewed an expert to learn more. Let's go.
Numbers out there. I think we are wasting about 17,000 ton daily, about 1.6 million ton a year. But if you Google food security in Malaysia, it's also an issue, which doesn't make any sense. We have food security problems, but we also have a food wastage problem, which is we want more food security, but people are wasting a lot more food. For me, it's very weird because Malaysia has a lot of agriculture, but we still import a lot of food. If you don't know, about 60% of our food right now is imported. What happens if we cannot import any food? Suddenly the countries that export the food to us suddenly doesn't want to export the food to us anymore.
So do you think we're taking our land too much for granted?
Yeah, definitely. We have too much land. Unfortunately, I can't remember the numbers. I think about 12% or 13% are used for agriculture, which is very small because we have a lot of land, and that's why we have a food security insecurity problem. But the land are not used well. We probably use most of the land for food wastage and whatnot. So why not repurpose the land? But probably we need a lot more NGOs or small companies with better funding from the government to help. I think the government does have several focus. I believe waste management is probably not one of them. I believe the government on food security, how to make sure we have food for all the people instead of the food wastage. The government doesn't really impose any concrete plan, any stronger policy. I don't think anyone below follow it. This has to come from the governments, or else the bottom will not follow. I think.
What is a suitable place they can call a landfill? They can start a landfill.
I think it's a requirement, if not mistaken. I remember landfill, I'm not sure, but if the requirement is same with furnace, where you can burn all the waste to turn it into energy, you have to build it quite far from population. One, because you don't want them to have this hazardous plume and whatnot from the burning of it. So I think it's quite far. I think it's about 35 to 30 kilometers from the nearby population. Meaning that you build something like a furnace, like a middle of a jungle or something, but there will be TNB line, the electrical power lines, because you generate electricity from there and you put it back to the grid. It's quite far. You want to avoid the bad air quality. air quality to make sure people doesn't get affected by the air. The cost of building one furnace could cost you millions because one, you have to get land, huge plot of land, and then you have to build power lines to power your facilities, and also the implication to the environment. So you can't just burn it off and just let it go. Now, some certain part of Selangor has no water because of pollution. The river, this company dump their toxic on. You know how much they get penalized for? It's not even a million. It's about 10,000. And these companies are making millions of ringgit every month, and they get the penalized for 10,000, 15,000 ringgit. So that's not. So our law are so outdated. It has nothing to do. That's the thing. The government are focusing on several other things. The food waste is not something that they. Food security. There's a lot of things they want to focus on. We have waste. Find a land, turn it into a proper landfill, and then you dump everything. And all the waste, they make the land very toxic. It's uninhabitable. You cannot even grow agriculture there because of the toxic, or from all these years and years of dumping on the landfill.
With this awareness in mind, we also asked what could be done to reduce food waste. The overwhelming majority pointed to education and raising awareness as the most important solutions. Many felt that people simply don't realize the full impact of food waste, and that creating more understanding, starting from schools to public campaigns, could make a big difference. While some also mentioned the need for stronger regulations, it was clear that most believe real change begins with informing and educating the public. However, the overall solution seemed too ambitious, so we thought, how can we, you included, help reduce this issue? Hence, we present to you our easy, at-home solution.
Firstly, cut the bananas. Then, we scrape the inside of the peels. Then, mash the peels to get its extract. Secondly, we cut the dragon fruits and scrape the peels inside as well. Then, mash them for their extract. You should then be left with these. Strain the dragon fruit extract for pigmentation. Then, strain the banana extract for its nutrients. Pour the beeswax into double boiler and melt it. Pour the extracts into the beeswax. And mix. Pour it into the mold. And mix until it's pink.
Well, that marks the end of the video from us. We hope that you are able to learn a thing or two from our video and able to implement our solution in your daily lives. Now, always remember, think smart, eat smart, waste less.